If dollar wasn't an issue, what hobby would you get into? Already have a lot of hobbies that I haven't been able to do, like painting, crochet, leatherwork, Lego building, puzzles, Gmail, act. But if money wasn't an issue, after getting a property big enough for multiple houses for my family and our animals, I'd start a cage-free animal rescue foundation for strays, injured, and permanent resident animals that need somewhere to call home. Sailing. I used to sail smaller boats when I was young, and learned how to sail larger boats up to about 30 feet. No way could my family afford even a dinghy, so I'd crew when I could, or rent one from the club on base, which I wasn't supposed to be allowed to do since I was under 18. Now I'd love to have a larger sailboat and the time to do some coastal cruising. Flying. I go to culinary school, travel and learn from great chefs. It's so hard to find great food. Even at Michelin-starred restaurants. The presentation will be good, but the taste isn't always mind-blowing. I'd like to make incredibly tasty dishes, no matter that the key component is. There's something about cooking that is just exciting, fun, and rewarding. Building PCs and mountain biking. I've built PCs before, but no longer have the money to keep them up to date. Family mortgage commitments and all that. I'd love to get into mountain biking, but I'm always working and any free time I do have is spent with my family. If money wasn't an object, I wouldn't need to work so much. Any of my current hobbies that I got into because my hobby was getting too expensive would qualify. Cars, scuba, woodworking, electronics, gaming, airbrushing and model making, collecting flashlights, shooting, tool restoration, kayaking. Yeah, you can do all of them on the cheap, but there's always a new tool and new shiny. Collecting art and rare things, always wished I had a humble exhibit which reflects my interests, updated every month or so, display any kind of memorabilia and support local artists. I think it could be a legitimate business idea, but a bit tough to maintain considering you'd need to travel often to find unique things. Philanthropy. I know a lot of really good people doing a lot of really good things, but I can only afford to give them so much on my current budget. I still have more money than time. I'm a software engineer, but I would love to deepen and grow those partnerships and help ministries and nonprofits flourish. I will get my pilot's license in my own plane. There's a man outside of my hometown with a private grass runway basically in his backyard. Has a P-51 Mustang that I have seen for sure and a few others I can't make out from the highway. Always been my goal, but it's just so expensive to get the license. I would love to do woodworking. Even today I thought of something that would be cute on our wall, searched for hours for it and realized it doesn't exist. If I had a saw, nice wood and some knowledge, I'd build it right now. I'd build a lot of things for around the house, honestly. I'd be unstoppable. I'd dive a lot deeper into speaker design and building. I dabble, but I need a full woodworking shop, a selection of drivers, a kit of crossover components, measurement tools, a decent painting rig, sheets of MDF and wood, maybe a CNC, good source and power components, and lots more time. I would want to walk one of those really long trails. Starting with the Appalachian Trail. Stay in hotels when you're tired and eat at restaurants when you're hungry. I'm sure there's some stretches where you'd need a tent and a pack, but in between you could forward it by courier. Traveling. We have such a beautiful world and I want to see as much as I can. I think I'd also look into the cleanest way of traveling and investing into it so it's more accessible. I want my grandchildren and their grandchildren to see the beauty as well. I used to keep fish and brew beer but stopped both, more time related than money, but money definitely was a factor. If dollar wasn't an issue today, I'd probably really like to get into 3D printing, CNC, laser engraving and your typical maker type stuff. Buying cars. Buying land and building dream things and experimenting on the land. I'd grow grass and buy a little lawnmower and mow the tall grass and get stuck in the grass. I'd buy a big ass sand pool so I can jump in it and swim around. Weightlifting maybe? I had some good times going to the gym and hitting the weights, but that cost me a few $100 a month for the gym membership. It was more like a club, and the huge amount of food I'd have to consume. Always loved the sea. A trip to the Titanic is on my bucket list, though strangely having second thoughts recently. Failing that, I'd love to own some land, grow chili peppers and ferment them for a small hot sauce business. Horseback riding. Horses are so awesome, but expensive to care for. I've always wanted to learn and always been too poor for even a trail ride. And I'll never own a house, more or less own enough property for a horse. Horseback riding. Horses are so awesome, but expensive to care for. I've always wanted to learn and always been too poor for even a trail ride. And I'll never own a house, more or less own enough property for a horse. I'm a big wrestling fan, so I guess traveling around the world to see the major events would be my main hobby. I'd get to see different countries and cities whilst also watching my favorite form of entertainment. Collecting ancient armor and weapons and buying replicas to train with them and learn how to use them. My favorite weapon is the spear, so buying a replica of a medieval spear would be like a dream for me. I would take up horseback riding. It's very expensive to keep a horse, and it's also not cheap to set up your own obstacle course. If money didn't matter, I'd get myself a filly and set up a riding range. Guns and rusty modding cars. I've never done a bit of either, but I'm very interested in both. Having my own range to shoot at, and having space to make a nice, safe, and fast AMC pacer would be awesome. Considering I'll be starting trade school for 3D modeling come August, I'd love to set up a space to 3D print original figurines, dolls and action figures. Here's hoping I can manage to stick with it. Would be cool to have a Lego room with a giant Lego city on one side and Star Wars on the other side. In the next room I want a really fancy home theater with a Slurpee machine and everything. I've wanted to make jewelry for half my life. Not just plain stuff, but actual beautiful gold and silver rings. It costs a lot of money to start up, not to mention the supplies you need. I'd like to be able to keep snowboarding, but despite having all the equipment, lift tickets being $160 a day isn't reasonable anymore. Over $300 for my husband and I to go on in a given day. Topiary, just the land, time, and space needed. I found out the hard way people don't take too kindly to practicing on their bushes. You don't start out as an artist, more of a butcher. Magic the Gathering. I really got into Arena during the pandemic. Drafting, collecting, deck building, all great fun. It really adds up if you're trying to do it with actual cards though. I'd have my own bakery library, where I'd sell homemade cakes, listen to jazzy lo-fi music, and there would be books available for anyone. But you know, getting up at 5 AM to bake. Oof. Paramotoring. I saw the videos of that one guy flying to McDonald's, Dunkin', etc., and it's my dream to fly to a Walmart and pick up something mundane then fly off into the sunset. I've always wanted to get into archery, but I don't even know where to start, and maybe it isn't expensive, but I don't know. Just a random hobby idea I've always had in my head. If money wasn't an issue, man, you know what I'd do? 2 chicks at the same time. 'Cause chicks dig guys with money, and I reckon if money wasn't an issue I could hook that up. Overall, traveling. I'm gonna buy a sailboat if my business works out. I'm buying a Lagoon 77 and sail the world. I'm still in school, so I have free time to put in my business. Honestly, I'd like to get really into problem solving on an individual level. I'd just travel and help people. I think it'll be a lot of fun and a great way to try new foods. I would work with clay, pottery, ceramics, whatever. There's lessons, but that's like 8 hours of learning. I like to learn the basics and then learn the test by creating all types of flight. Small single-engine aircraft, small business jets, helicopters, skydiving, hot air balloons, etc. Fast brand new aircraft, World War II fighters, everything. Regular lab experiments. I take intense interest in chemistry, and if money wasn't an issue I'd brew all kinds of things. The learning potential from that is insane as well. In US I would get rid of school debt and buy some Supreme Court judges to reverse their recent rulings, then go after healthcare and school lunches and stuff like that. Restoring old towns. There are so many old beautiful buildings in rural America. I would love to buy them, restore them, and bring some life back into these small towns. Probably surfing, or something of the sort, snowboarding, etc. Would love to have it as a hobby. For now, they're just fond memories which I am still lucky to have. I always dreamed of having a big workshop at home where I could do some metalworking. Unfortunately, property values are too damn high, and so is the equipment costs. D&D miniatures, terrains, and constructing stuff for my games. I currently just describe everything in my head or draw a rough picture with X's go show locations. TBH, I'm not really interested in any expensive hobbies. If money weren't an issue, I'd work less and spend more time doing the things I already enjoy doing. Cars. I've always been a car enthusiast, but everything is so expensive. I don't actively participate in the car modding scene, despite driving a sports car. Flying, getting a pilot's license is not cheap. Unfortunately, the cheapest way ends up being to buy an aircraft and rent hangar space after getting started. Always thought it would be fun to become a Foley artist. I imagine you need money for some good equipment and space to really get started in it though. I'd definitely be more into buying shoes. I'd love to have a new pair every day. I usually just wear the same pair till the bottoms fall off. Lol. I already have a hobby writing original music, but can't do it on account that I don't have enough money right now, but I would go back to that. I wanna start getting into building go-karts and mini bikes from scratch. Gas and electric. Too expensive at the moment, but sometime soon. I'd love to get some more airbrushes, and there's always more model kits to buy. It's like plastic crack, I just can't help myself, man shrugging. I'd get an island and do a whole bunch of fun stuff with it: skate park, BMX track, go-karting track. Encase your heads in the gutter. Paintball. Never done it, looks like a lot of fun and I would lose weight really fast. But that's way too expensive a hobby to get into. Testing every new CPU, and other computer parts. I'm wealthy enough to buy high-end PC parts without worry, but I wanna buy 'em all. Mill some airsoft, the kind where the games last for days. Haven't been able to participate for a long time because of the material costs. I'd love to actually work on my weekend car. Haven't since I bought it, other than tint. Tint people, nothing performance or cosmetic. Always had an irk for flying airplanes. If money wasn't a problem, would have gone to flight school and become a commercial pilot. Antique items. Anything from planes to trinkets. I always loved how everything looked in the past and the simplicity of its design. Collecting, and training with, old weapons. Asian and European swords, bows, African spears or Central American obsidian weapons. Snowboarding. Doesn't seem too expensive, but boards, tickets, travel expenses, housing, food and other gear cost a pretty penny. Cosplay. I did it when I was younger and had less responsibilities, but fuck me if I can ever buy a bunch of $50 feathers again.